Hi everybody, I'm Patrick Mahoney with Green Attic Insulation, and I'm here on a job site today where I'm just doing a little inspection. While we're here, we wanted to shoot a video for you about why we love using cellulose insulation. When I head out on job sites or when I meet with clients, a question that we get a lot of is, why do we prefer using cellulose? Because ultimately, in 90% of the jobs that we do, we use cellulose insulation, and that's what I want to take a look at today. So let's dive into it. So I just want to jump into the reasons why we prefer cellulose in a lot of cases. The first reason, and probably the most important, is cellulose does a great job of managing air and moisture transfer. It does a far superior job managing air and moisture transfer than fiberglass. Spray foam is just about the only thing that's going to do a better job of that, but spray foam is really expensive. So in most cases, when we're doing a traditional attic space, we're looking at air and moisture transfer being an issue. We don't want that to happen. Either in the wintertime, we don't want the heat and moisture to rise up in the attic that can potentially cause mold. And in the summertime, we don't want that heat to be making its way down onto your drywall ceiling and then radiating heat into your home. It's a lot of the reason why your home might be warmer in the summer. But we're very concerned also about mold, both mold existing and mold potential in the future. And when we look at a house and we make a proposal, after we've done the work, we give a warranty, a 5-year warranty against mold. How do we do that? We do that because we rest on cellulose insulation performing the way it should perform. We make sure that we do the pieces that are going to produce the results to keep moisture and air from moving through your ceiling in either season, and we want to make sure that ultimately when we leave your house that we leave it in a way that's going to keep mold from happening in the future. So air and moisture transfer is a great reason to use cellulose. As a matter of fact, if it was by itself, it would be enough. But we have 3 other reasons why we like using cellulose. The next reason is, with a name like Green Attic Insulation, we try super hard to use recycled materials or things that are environmentally responsible. Cellulose itself is the most environmentally responsible material that we can use for insulation. And the reason why is it's about 85% recycled. So when it comes to the paper that you're consuming day to day, the stuff that comes in your Amazon boxes, the newspapers that we get, anything that's paper-based, it has a chance of making its way into cellulose insulation. All of that material is mostly refined, recycled material that has been consumed already. So we're not only using material that's performing well, but we're using something that's impacting the environment positively. And if you look at other materials like fiberglass or mineral wool or spray foam, all these materials have tons and tons of energy expenditure that goes into manufacturing them. And so we don't have that when it comes to cellulose. So it's a great material and it's great for the environment. Jumping right into our third reason, we prefer cellulose because it's very safe. And it's safe both for us as applicators and for you as a consumer having it put into your house. There's all different kinds of materials that can go into an attic space, but cellulose is by far the most friendly when it comes to handling it, and ultimately if you were to ingest some of it, it's the safest that you can get. The material itself is recycled newspaper or any kind of recycled paper like we touched on before, so really very little issue there. It's not produced in a lab. It's not something that needs to go through a bunch of production. It's not fiberglass where it's literally shards of glass that's airborne. Cellulose is a non-irritant. It is non-allergic. It doesn't bother you when you rub it on your skin. Like if this was fiberglass, I would never be doing this. It's something that's very easy and safe to work with. And the safety continues when we look at fire resistance. Ultimately, the material borate that treats the material, the cellulose for fire resistance, it allows it to be something that's actually helping when it comes to a fire. That slow transfer of air through the material that helps us in the wintertime to keep mold down is the same thing that helps us keep oxygen from being flowing into a fire. So when we put this into your house, we know that the material has been treated for fire resistance, It has a greater fire resistance than fiberglass over time. And ultimately, if there were to be a fire in your house, this would at least slow down that transfer. So if a fire started in the attic space, you had this on the floor, you'd have more time to get out of the house if that was the case. God forbid that happens. Our fourth and final reason we prefer cellulose is how well it does to deter pests and insects from living in your attic. That same material, borate, that actually is the fireproofing material, the thing that increases the fire resistance for the paper, is also a huge deterrent for pests and insects. They do not like to get that material on them. It irritates them. It keeps bugs, it keeps mice at bay. I literally walk into attics every day where I see hundreds of burrow holes in the space for mice. I know that once we install that cellulose insulation, they're not gonna want to bed in that space anymore. So are we keeping them from coming in? Absolutely not. We're not stopping them necessarily from coming in from some of the penetrations, but we are keeping them from wanting to bed in that space, which is a huge, huge advantage when it comes to keeping these things from living in your home. And let's be frank, attic spaces are filled with bugs, they have mice, and we want to keep those from being inside your house too. So there you have it, the answer to the question why we prefer cellulose insulation in most applications. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions to this. We're going to have to use spray foam in certain situations. We're going to have to use fiberglass in certain situations. But day in and day out, we turn to cellulose for the 4 reasons that we just went over. It does a great job of managing moisture and air transfer. It's something that is environmentally friendly, being made mostly of recycled materials. It's very safe. It's not an irritant, it's not allergic, it's something that's going to actually be a positive impact in your house and also not affect you and your health. And finally, it's going to resist those pests and insects from wanting to bed inside of it. And those are all the reasons why we turn to cellulose on a daily basis. If you have any questions, please make sure to give us a call. Go to greenattic.com, submit an info request if you want to get a bid, and we look forward to seeing you on your project.